MPs are about to vote on fire safety laws designed to prevent a repeat of the Grenfell Tower tragedy, with questions over who will foot the bill in protecting homes. Labour MPs, as well as some Conservatives, are claiming that tenants and leaseholders should not be expected to pay for fire safety improvements, including the removal of cladding. An amendment to the fire safety bill would see the government pay the initial costs before recouping it from developers and cladding companies. Well, Steph Pikes owns a flat in a block in Bristol which has been deemed vulnerable to a fire spreading, and she joins me now. It doesn't appear as if this amendment is going to get passed. What is it going to mean for someone like you, indeed tens of thousands of people like you, who have bought flats either just before or around the time of Grenfell or just after?
If the amendment doesn't get passed tonight, we are kind of back in this limbo position, well, actually even worse position than we've been in to date. So if the amendment doesn't get passed, it effectively puts into law that leaseholders will have to pay for historic fire safety defects. And
just remind or tell our viewers, when you bought your flat, how many metres high it is, because it's got to be below or above 18 metres, and who is responsible for the cladding and the fire safety, do you think, when you bought it, and what has subsequently happened?
So when I bought the property, obviously it was just after Grenfell that it was completed. Grenfell was in the forefront of everyone's minds, and I asked my solicitor about fire safety and cladding, and all of the replies came back satisfactory. I thought it was all completely safe. Sorry, what was the second bit of the question?
So you bought the flat thinking everything was fine. Then after Grenfell, when it came to insurances, building controls, what you were then told you were liable for, just explain what was presumably a huge shock when the new guidelines came in.
Yeah, so it was a massive shock, because obviously we'd done all the checks, we thought it was absolutely fine, and we found out about a year ago there was some of the bad cladding on the building, and we were told that it was only a very small amount, and that it would cost about £5,000 to replace. And
that's per flat or for the whole building?
No, just £5,000 to replace all of the bad cladding, but it's actually following a load of different reports and wall inspections, it's come to light that the cladding is only such a small part of the issue. It's missing cavity barriers, fire breaks, flammable insulation, timber balconies. A lot of this was non-compliant at the time the building was signed off. So basically the builders have just put it up as cheaply as possible, and thought they would get away with it, and at the moment they are continuing to get away with it, and this is the case for numerous buildings.
But did the building fail? Would it have failed building regulations if the checks had been carried out, or was this common practice before Grenfell fire?
I think it's been common practice the whole way through. What I think the issue is that these building checks are not done properly. I don't know a huge amount about this particular area, but my understanding is that they're often done off plans. They're not actually done. Physical checks aren't actually done. So the person signing it off doesn't actually see what materials have been used in the building, doesn't actually see if fire breaks have been put in, and bizarrely there seems to be no kind of legal recourse against the people who have signed them off. So every part of the system has failed. The regulations aren't strong enough.
So with the bill coming through, who do you think should be paying? Should it be the government, because they've already offered £3.5 billion, haven't they, into a fund?
Yeah, and leaseholders absolutely welcome this funding. However, we don't think the taxpayers should pay for this either. This is not the taxpayers doing. This is not leaseholders doing. This is the people who have built these properties that are non-compliant. it's the manufacturers of the products, so Kingspan, for instance, who have faked fire tests.
Well, hang on a second. Let's just, so we're just talking generally then. Let's just, so basically it is the suppliers and the builders who have not been following the correct guidelines in the run-up to Grenfell.
Yeah, it's a combination of many things, I think. I think it's lack of regulation, lack of enforcement, people signing them off incorrectly, and then builders kind of doing what they want, not building buildings in compliance with regulations, and also the manufacturers. So the issue is it's so complex. There are so many different parties to blame, but the only party that isn't to blame is leaseholders, and they're the only ones at the moment that are being made to pay.
Yeah, and might not even be able to sell the flat because some mortgage companies won't actually allow people to get a mortgage unless these things are resolved. I'm sorry, it's very complicated, Steph, but we'll both be watching out for the result of that amendment in the next few hours in the Commons. Thank you very much indeed, Steph Pikes.
Thank you.